we think we are when we do something like that.
What's up, fight fans? This is the Combat Connection. I'm your host, Brett Cagle, joined today by Pat Danna, and Eddie will be on here momentarily. He's coaching a Little League team for his son, so he'll be on here in a little bit. But first, we got UFC 326 Fight Week, but we got to talk about Brandon Moreno and Lone'er Kavanagh, the UFC Fight Night Mexico card from last week. Pat, you picked it on vibes. You picked Lone'er Kavanagh on the show. Everybody went against you. We all thought Moreno by decision was the smart play there, but you had it right. What did you see coming in that led you to do that?
I mean, Kavanagh, like as we saw early, he was just so much of a better striker than Moreno. He was like, it's weird to say, but Kavanagh coming into the UFC might have had better striking than Moreno ever had, just technically. Moreno's more of a grinder. He's more of a pressure boxer. And I just didn't feel like his striking was really going to work against Kavanagh. And it didn't. I liked Kavanagh a lot. He was one of my favorite prospects in the sport. Favorite prospects from DWCS since I've been watching it, honestly. And I just had really high hopes for him coming into the UFC at first. Obviously, the knockout loss to Charles Johnson was a setback, but I mean, the current champion has a knockout loss to Charles Johnson. So you can't think too highly of that kind of stuff sometimes. The short notice element was really what made me worried the most, but skill for skill, I honestly just thought Kavanagh was more skilled than Moreno showed he was in his last couple of fights. I think it was the perfect time for the matchup because Moreno was definitely on a downtrend, while Kavanagh, I think, is only going to get better.
Yeah, a lot of people online are saying that Moreno is washed or past his prime now, but he's just fought two of the best up-and-comers in the entire division. You mentioned the skill set of Lone'er Kavanagh there. He just had more tools in the tool shed. The leg kicks on Moreno were just playing such a big factor early in the fight, and it really took down the mobility of Brandon Moreno when we saw him in those later rounds. Normally, he's the cardio guy that's able to push downhill on you, able to land that boxing on the inside. He wasn't able to use that movement to get inside on Kavanagh because he went to the legs early and was so effective with that. We're going to go into the striking statistics here real quick because they were actually closer on the total striking numbers than a lot of people thought coming in. 134 for Brandon Moreno to 136 for Lone'er Kavanagh. Significant strikes, 97 for Kavanagh, 79 for Brandon Moreno, 0 of 8 on takedowns for Moreno. He did have 7 minutes of control time against the cage. Pat, I don't think there was any question here. I thought Lone'er Kavanagh won. We were texting on Fight Night. I had it 4-1 for Kavanagh, but I thought in Mexico it was going to be hard to get that decision away from Brandon Moreno. Were you surprised that there maybe wasn't a split or some questionable scorecards there in the main event?
Maybe a little surprised, but I'm happy it wasn't because like you, I had Kavanagh 4-1. I thought he won the fight 49-46 as well. And I mean, he just had the most devastating moments of the fight by far. Moreno's best moments were sadly just holding him up against the cage, especially in rounds 4 and 5. That's all that really happened was Moreno holding him up against the cage. I mean, I think the leg kick alone that dropped Moreno there for a second or wobbled him, whatever it was, in round 4 probably won Kavanagh the round just because Moreno did nothing with the control he was getting. It was tough to watch, honestly, at some point because it was like you want Kavanagh to get off the cage, but it's also his first 5-round fight. So you have to understand that, his cardio on short notice, especially in an elevation, it's just not going to be as good as it could be. And he really couldn't force himself off the cage too often. But when they weren't on the cage, Kavanagh was winning those exchanges. And I think with Moreno doing no damage, that's really what you have to score. So was I shocked that there wasn't a split? Maybe. I mean, kind of, but I'm really happy there wasn't because there shouldn't have been.
No, I don't think so either. I thought it was a runaway victory for Kavanagh, who showcased his skills, even though he's youthful, he's inexperienced compared to Moreno, and that's really what me and Eddie were hammering on last week when we picked Moreno was, he's been in 7 title fights, he's got the most time fought in the division's history and all of this stuff, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter because the wear and tear on those tires for Moreno might have been too much, and Lone'er Kavanagh is a guy who's still going to have pushes towards a title, and Pat, here's my next topic of discussion. Where do you go for Lone'er Kavanagh now? Because you just beat a former champion. You beat a top 5 guy. You're going right into the fire. It's not like you're going and taking a step back and you're fighting Charles Johnson again and having a rematch. You're up here and you're talking about fighting Manel Kape, who is, I believe, who he should fight next.
Yeah, I'm thinking he should probably get a guy like Royval or Horiguchi next. Maybe put him against one of those guys. I feel like that'd be a fun and interesting stylistic matchup for either of those fights. Manel Kape would be a good one too. I honestly don't know how much I like Loner's chances in that fight, just because Kape is very dangerous to deal with, and I think Kape should honestly just. I think Cobb should just wait for a title shot, to be honest. He's probably earned it, but he's in a weird spot. The whole division's in a bit of a weird spot right now, honestly. So they could definitely go a couple different ways with that. But I think to bring Kavanagh up the right way, just because he got such a big push to fight Moreno in a main event here, I think they should give him a guy like Roy Val or Koraguchi, another more experienced vet that I like his chances better against, honestly. I want to see him get built up properly, because he's just completely skipped the build-up stage at this point, because now he's ranked number 6.
And we've seen it in the division in the past. We saw it with Steve Erceg. Erceg goes in there and knocks out a guy in Matt Schnell, who obviously isn't even on the same level as Brandon Moreno, but he was given a title shot after that. Kaya Sakura comes into the 125-pound division, doesn't even need to fight, and gets given a title shot. So this is very thin, margins here at 125 pounds. You go and have a good performance, you might be on the cusp of a title shot. When we're talking about Manel Kape, though, Manel Kape lost to a guy who's outside the UFC. And I'm going to keep saying it and hammering it home. You cannot promote a guy as your champion when he's lost to a guy who's fighting in the Middle East. So at some point, I understand that Lone'er wouldn't be probably the best matchup for him because they're both strikers. He doesn't have the experience of him. He might not be as quick, and he is very athletic and creative as well. I think it'd be a really good contest. And after what I saw last weekend, I think it probably should be made, because it'd be the most entertaining matchup you can make for the two guys at 125 pounds. But for Kape, you're at risk, right? Because you have a guy in there who's probably going to get beat by Pantoja really easily if Pantoja comes back, because he just doesn't have the grappling. So I think that if you're the UFC, you got to make sure that Kape has improved and is not still that one-dimensional fighter for if he gets to a championship. But for Lone'er Kavanagh, like you're saying, I think it's going to be a top 5 fight next for him. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can't wait to see what they do with Kavanagh next, because, I mean, he even impressed me. I didn't think he was going to win a decision. I thought he was going to catch Moreno, which he did. He almost knocked him out in round 2. But, I mean, he ended up winning the decision in 25 minutes, first main event against against a guy that had, 8 5-round fights before that, we were saying? Something crazy. So,
7 or 8.
Yeah. But how crazy is that? Like it's a massive step up, massive short notice opportunity, and he delivered. So I'm really interested to see what happens next with him.
Yeah, I am too. Going to have to be on the lookout for him. Maybe returns on International Fight Week or something like that in a big fight. But we're going to move on here, and we were kind of split on this one in the co-main event. David Martinez versus Marlon Chito Vera. I thought Chito Vera did a lot of good work in the back half of the fight, but you mentioned this is kind of what happens in Chito's fights. Like, the volume just isn't there, and at times he's a slow starter, and at times he gets behind in these fights and he's got to pour it on late. Like when we saw him with Rob Font, he wins 3 rounds, but he has to score knockdowns in all those 3 rounds, right? So he's one of those fighters that he's got to do damage to win these rounds. And I thought he did more damage in round 2 and 3, honestly. He did not win round 1. In the first half of round 2, I did not think he won the first half of round 2 either. But I don't know. I like David Martinez as a prospect. I was there when he beat Rob Font at San Antonio, and I think he is very, very good. 26 years old, just, sky's the limit for him. But Chito Vera looked in the best physical condition that I've seen him in recent fights. I thought that Pereira did a really good job with his training camp, getting him in a better shape than what we saw in the O'Malley fights, in the O'Malley fight. But yeah, I thought it was a close fight. How'd you have it scored, Pat?
Yeah, I had it Martinez 29-28. I thought he definitely did enough in round 1, and then I thought he did win round 2 as well. Round 3 obviously wasn't the best look, especially the end of round 3. Chito might have had him hurt. I don't know if it was more gassed or hurt or whatever, but he definitely had him on the ropes there for a bit. And but we do got to remember with Martinez, has less UFC fights than Kavanagh, and he has already been ranked inside of the top 15, close to the top 10. I feel like he's a guy that also needs to be built up, and I did feel like this was the right next fight for him, and I think he'll learn a lot from this fight, and I think he'll continue to improve. His ceiling might not be the top of the world right now. He might be pretty close to his ceiling at the moment, but if he continues to improve, that could very well change, because it feels like top 9, I think that's where he is now, is number 9. That's probably the highest he'll go unless we start to see some more improvements from him, which I feel we will. I mean, like I said, 3rd UFC fight, you're already in the top 10 of a stacked bantamweight division. I mean, you really can't ask for more from David Martinez.
No, yeah, David did great. I just thought that Chito, I don't know, it was a really close fight. But we got to move on here, and we got a lot to talk about today, fight fans. But Bobby King Green really turned back Daniel Zellhuber. Zellhuber has now lost fights to near 40-year-old veterans Michael Johnson and Bobby Green in back-to-back fights. But if you go look at the records of Bobby Green and Michael Johnson, they're not the greatest. They're not going to, make you think that, Daniel Zellhuber should win these fights. He's 4-1 favorites in these fights. He's got 4 inches plus of reach advantage. He's supposed to be the better striker, and he gets knocked out by Bobby Green in this one, knocked down twice. And then versus Michael Johnson, he was just outpointed for 15 minutes and, really was outclassed by a guy who's been around the UFC for a very, very long time. And Luke Thomas raised a very interesting point this week, saying that the old guard has really turned back some of these new contenders that are coming forward. Anthony Smith, Vitor Petrino, for example, stuff like that. It's just happened with this old guard that these new fighters aren't as skilled. They may be more athletic, but they're not as skilled as some of these veterans like the Neil Magny's when he goes up against Mike Malott and stuff like that. We've just seen a lot of these guys fall up short, Pat, but what'd you make of this one from Bobby Green? Obviously a great performance from him.
Yeah, no, for Bobby Green, he looked great. He looked like Bobby Green. He looked even better than he did against Lance Gibson. He obviously had 2 losses before that, but it was reminiscent of, younger Bobby Green, more athletic Bobby Green. He looked great. His boxing was on point as usual. It's just more of like the surprise from Zellhuber, that's really what it comes into play here. I think the Rebovix fight really might have done a number on him because I don't know. There's just not really much of an explanation for how stunted his growth has become in the UFC. He seemed to be a great prospect, took an early loss to Trey Ogden, which Ogden's a very tricky fighter, and it was a decision. He was never in trouble in that fight. Wins 3, has the fight of the year with Rebovix, and then they give him 2, like you said, near 40-year-old guys who are very beatable from what we've seen, and he just never looked like he could really beat either of them, and he gets knocked out cold in this fight. It looked like he got knocked out cold twice, to be honest with you. It looked like he woke up and then got knocked out again. Like, it's just one of those things where I don't know. It's hard to be high on a guy like Daniel Zellhuber right now. It's hard to be optimistic about his future, knowing what we've seen in his last 2 fights. I think that the only real explanation could be that Rebovix fight and how much of a war it was, how much damage he ate. I think it really might have set him back years. And I don't know, because now he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's obviously a fun fighter, but if he's going to lose to guys like Bobby Green and Michael Johnson at this point, like, he might be a winner, a loss or 2 away from getting out of the UFC, which is sad to say for someone that seemed to have such a bright future, but just doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think the Rebovix fight, obviously, that was an absolute classic fight of the year. But you're right. He hasn't looked the same since he's returned, and he's returned against guys that he was given layups against. The UFC expected him to win these fights. So it's a hard look for him. I hope he doesn't get let go. I do think that he has potential. Maybe he needs to take some time off. Maybe he needs to change of scenery in a camp. There needs to be a legitimate concrete change for Daniel Zellhuber moving forward, in my opinion, if he wants to get to the potential we all thought he had a couple years ago.
Yeah, I very much agree.
And I hate to say that, I don't like seeing people move from gyms and that sort of thing, but I just feel like he's got to do that moving forward. But Edgar Chairez and Felipe Burns were involved in a split decision here. I will say that I was not able to watch this fight. I got done doing my 2 articles and then went and grabbed food real quick before the main event and co-main event, Pat. So I'll let you give your opinion here on the split decision. Did you have Chairez winning this one?
I didn't. I thought Boons edged it. It was a pretty close fight. I think it could have gone either way. There's a lot of arguments I've seen online about this fight. I'm not really going to say it was a robbery, but I don't think it was a good decision either. Kind of that situation where Boons seemed to have did enough to get the win, and now it sucks because he's cut. That Boons is already out of the UFC, so that's it for him. And it's on a controversial loss to a guy in Edgar Chairez who's fun, but this was actually, I think, the first time that Edgar Chairez won a decision in his career. He was 0-4 to the decision before this in his career. Wow. So his first decision win in his career comes in a very controversial way. Maybe the Mexico scorecards had a little something to do with that. I don't know. Like I said, it was close, but it did kind of stink to see Boons kind of get robbed and then just cut immediately with no second thought. He was 1-3 in the UFC. He's 36 years old, so I'm not saying I don't understand it, but it's just a shame. I feel like he definitely earned another one with how close this fight was at the very least. And I don't know. Neither guy really impressed me in this fight, to be quite honest with you. Neither guy, like I wasn't really impressed with either of them before this
Yeah.
fight, and nothing changed after it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I don't really know why the fight was on the main card. I didn't
Oh,
want to
yeah,
say that last week going into the event, but it's like
right.
you said, one guy's not even in the promotion anymore, and we're sitting here putting that on a main card. So,
and that guy arguably won. It's like
exactly.
I think more
I'll
people
tell you
scored
what,
it
Pat.
for Boons.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I think more people scored it for Boons than Chires, to be quite honest. From what
Do you
I
have
saw.
Verdict MMA? Do you have the scoring app? Verdict?
I have it, but I don't think I'm logged in. I haven't used it in a bit.
I find that quite interesting, just to see how the fans vote to see which way the decision's thought by the people that were watching. But I'll tell you what, Pat, you're the prospect guy. And Mexico, in my opinion, has got a prospect here in Emmanuel Rodriguez. He put it on Kevin Borjas in the second round there, knocked him out, jumped on top of the cage, was celebrating. The arena was going insane. What do you make about his prospects in the division? Obviously not. I mean, Kevin's a good fighter. He's well respected, but he's not the upper echelon of the division, right? What do you think about Emmanuel Rodriguez and his prospects moving forward?
Well, there was some scary moments early there. In round one, he got dropped pretty bad. He got back up and was wobbling around the cage, ate some more damage, was able to find the takedown, which was very good to see because, I mean, Boras is a guy with power. We know that. He has great boxing, great power. I knew it was going to have some issues for Emmanuel. I mean, he even dropped Josh Van earlier in Van's career. Boras dropped him before Van finished him. He's a very good striker. Emmanuel was smart enough to bring it to the ground as soon as he got hurt and somehow stayed alive, showed off his chin, his durability, his willingness to get the win, and then ended up knocking Boras out in round two with a beautiful overhand that barely looked like it connected. And then like a second after it connected, Boras just slowly fell to the cage. Like that was it. Yep, that was it. Like it was one of those like equilibrium shots where it shook him up a bit, And he's a great fighter with legit power too, great boxing, but that wrestling that he could fall back on is what won him this fight. Because if he didn't have that wrestling and didn't get it to the ground, we could have seen him lose to a guy like Kevin Boras here, which would have been a nightmare for a UFC debut. But luckily, he's a very well-rounded, very skilled prospect. He trains with DC. I'm very high on Emmanuel Rodriguez. He called out Joseph Morales for a rematch of their tough fight. That was a split decision that went Morales' way that some people thought should have went the other way. That'd be a cool fight next, but even though Morales is on the border of the top 15, so we might not see that happen next, but that'd still be a really cool one to see in the future because I think Emmanuel could very well win a rematch in that fight.
Yeah, Rodriguez is very tough, very aggressive. More so than just the big right hand finish that we saw, Pat. Like you said, the toughness, being able to overcome what happened in round one, and then also showing the wrestling ability as well. Also being a plus athlete, able to land that right hand on Borjas. I think he's going to be a good prospect moving forward. But Santiago Luna is another guy that Mexico is going to be proud of here in the future, in my opinion. A very young prospect as well. Defeated Angel Pacheco by unanimous decision. How impressed were you with that performance?
That was a great performance. I mean, Pacheco's a zombie. Like, straight up, he's a zombie. He was getting battered with some massive punches. It looked like he was going out for like a split second every time a big punch landed, and that he would just wake himself up. It was crazy. He has, like, durability, like, almost like I've never seen before at 135 pounds. It's genuinely insane. And Luna was able to deal with it. Didn't really ever get in trouble. I think there was a moment or two he was getting landed on, but it was never anything too bad. And I mean, Luna looked great. I think Luna is definitely one of Mexico's brighter prospects. I think he has a very high potential in his future. He's still a greener prospect, like I said last week. He does still have room to grow and does need to grow, but going to his first decision here is the perfect start for that. I mean, he really showed how gritty he can be when things get down to it.
Eddie joins the show. Eddie, let's get your opinion on UFC Mexico from last week. Brandon Moreno outstruck by Lone'er Kavanagh. The leg kick's a big deal in that one. What did you think about this card as a whole, and obviously Lone'er in the main event?
Well, first of all, that's the controversy in that main event. The motherfucking Moreno got robbed. He got robbed, motherfucker. What? That was bullshit. Moreno should have gotten the fucking win. Fucking all fight. I'm just fucking with y'all. Look, hey, look.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
No, fuck that, dude. Lone'er Kavanagh came in and showed what the fuck is up, baby. That was sick as hell. I didn't get to watch the event until the day after, and so I already knew the result, but I was skeptical as shit about, okay, how good was this kid really against a former world champion? No, he was fucking good. Like, but the number one thing people forgot about this one, I should have thought about this shit when we were talking making picks and everything. I still would have picked Moreno. That's my boy. But all the pressure, 100% of the pressure was on Brandon Moreno. He was carrying the card. His name's on the marquee. He's the guy at home. He's the two-time world champion. He's the experienced guy. Lone'er Kavanagh came in playing with house money, guys. That was and he knew it. He fucking fought like he knew it. Have you ever seen someone take chances against Brandon Moreno the way he did? And it paid off? Brandon Moreno was on the back foot. Brandon Moreno was nervous. You haven't seen that shit out of that dude in forever. That, I got to say, Lone'er Kavanagh is one of the guys I'm going to be watching this kid for the rest of his career. There's no way after grabbing his fucking balls and going in like that, I'm watching this kid every time.
Him versus Manel Kape. Do you like the matchup?
Fuck yeah, dude. Manel Kape's going to die. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. The way Kavanagh fights, if he fights like he fought Moreno, if he fights like he fought Moreno, Manel Kape has no chance because Manel Kape will be thinking too much. That guy can say he can talk about the bravado shit he wants to, all the shit he wants to, right? Come in with a weird nipple and shit, but he still is going to be the higher ranked guy. He's going to be the A side. I hate that shit, but the A side. He's still going to be the A side. Lone'er Kavanagh be like, yeah, give me that fight. Give me that fight. I'm going to fight with house money again because you're not expecting me to win. You're not going to expect me to beat Manel Kape. I'm going to go in and beat him. This kid, if he keeps that kind of mindset, just go in and fight your fight. Dude, the thing we see with fighters is that start thinking way too damn much and they think themselves out of fights. This kid's not doing that. If you can keep that kind of effort, woof, this kid's going to be scary. And dude, give me Kavanagh at International Fight Week because it's too soon for the O2, but eventually get this board to the O2. Get this board to the O2 as soon as you can.
I was saying him versus Manel Kape, #1 contenders fight, International Fight Week on the opener of a main card or something. That is a really good fight.
You could do Kape, you could do a Roy Val. I would hate to do that because then you start use Roy Val as a bump up and everything. But sorry, Brandon.
I was telling Pat, I was like, Kape's already lost to a guy outside the UFC. If you're the UFC, how do you want that guy to be your champion when you got Makayev fighting in the Middle East who beat him 30-27? So it's like that doesn't look great for your promotion. I'd try and get him beat by the young kid Kavanagh before he even got to the title opportunity because, in my opinion, if Kape fights Joshua Van, he might have a good chance of beating Joshua Van.
Oh, 100%. Joshua Van has been great as far as we've seen him, but he didn't show a shit in that title fight. Not his fault whatsoever. But you cannot, I hate to put it this way, but you cannot convince me that kid's an actual champion until he gets through a damn fight and actually wins it. Not because someone got hurt.
The belt.
I'm just saying.
The old saying, you got to defend the belt to be the champ.
Well, not just that. You got to win the belt in the first place, and I don't buy that as he won the belt. He was given the belt because Pantoja got hurt. Right, and I get it. That happens in fights 100%. I'm not knocking him as a champion. What I'm saying is we didn't get to see a championship effort from Joshua Van. So if someone gets in there, they can steal his shine real quick.
That's true. All right, fight fans, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to get into we could talk about Jose Medina has been cut from the UFC after getting knocked out in about 44 seconds by who was it? Ryan Gandra. Yep. This wasn't a good fight. Jose didn't really have anything for him and probably was the worst guy on the roster, but he's no longer on the roster. So that is a plus for the promotion. You
know what's hilarious? Jay, our editor, Jay Anderson, hit me up on Monday morning. He was like, hey, man, you going to do Cageside Live? He didn't know we weren't doing Cageside Live for a long time. And so I was like, well, I wasn't planning to, but if you want to jump on, shit, we haven't seen you online in like a year. So I was like, all right, cool. And so we talked about that, right? And I was like, you know what's funny about this fight? He's like, what? And I'm like, Brett and fucking Pat were probably jumping up and down happy as shit this guy got cut. He didn't even make it out of the arena with it before he got cut.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where he was never UFC caliber, you know? He was never even really close to UFC caliber. He got signed off a loss and continued to lose pretty bad. So
he was a nice story. That's what they got. They brought him. He was a nice story.
Yep.
He just didn't live up to it. And Dana's like, all right, well, fuck it.
Yeah. All right, fight fans. We did have some big announcements between last Wednesday and this Wednesday for fights that will be coming forward, and some big news that really dictates maybe what we're going to see at the White House card. But starting off, Carlos Prates will fight Jack Della Maddalena. That is a big fight at the welterweight division. What do you guys think about that? Strikers, Carlos Prates and Jack Della Maddalena. That's got to be a fun one, right?
Oh, it's such a fun fight. I absolutely love that fight. And I mean, I could see a argument for either guy winning the fight, but Prates' power, man. I mean, he has that death touch with his left hand, and I really think it's going to be tough for JDM to avoid that. I mean, don't get me wrong, JDM beat some solid guys on his way to the title. He beat Bilal, but I don't know. That Makhachev fight was rough, right? Like that looked like it killed. Like his confidence was dead before the fight was over in that fight. And I don't know. It gives me the vibes that if Prates touches him the right way, I think he's going to put JDM out, honestly.
I could see it. I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup. Two young guys there. Do you think this is a number one contenders type of fight, though? I mean, obviously we got Gary, we got Rachmanov. If Carlos Prates goes in there and like Pat's saying, he puts it on him, puts the left hand on him, sleeps Jack Della Maddalena, the former champion. Do you see him getting a title opportunity off this, Eddie?
Oh, for Prates, absolutely. JDM is a former champion. I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, honestly, they gave him a fight. First of all, and we'll talk. I'll bring this up later. Somebody else allegedly turned down the fight with Carlos Prates, and good thing because that dude would have fucking died. But
McGregor, yeah,
and we can talk about that if you guys want to. But no, this is definitely 100% a number one contender fight. Prates is a bad motherfucker. JDM's a former champion. The winner out of this has to be. I'm trying to think if the right word is next, or at least like.
I mean, because you do got Shavkat, you do got Ian.
But Shavkat's hurt. Shavkat's hurt, and he's probably going to need to fight again before he gets a title fight because he's been out for so long. He's still going to be out for a bit. I mean, the last we saw of him, he was at an event in Kazakhstan on crutches. Two crutches, it wasn't even like it was like one crutch, Dude, like he looked bad,
What a shitty way to find out that guy's hurt, dude. We didn't even hear from anybody. We saw a clip. We're like, damn.
Yep.
I mean, I think that when he does come back, like he might have to fight against, like you're saying, to just get back into the thick of things. But it's like he's already beat Gary, and we're going to give Gary a title shot, and it's like I don't know, just puts a bad taste in your mouth as a fan watching it. When you want the best guys in there, you can't do anything about him being hurt. But guys, we got to talk about 205 though, because it dictates maybe what's going to be happening here in the main event of the White House with John Jones. Alex Pereira is moving up to heavyweight. We got Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg, a fantastic fight in its own. We can talk about that maybe in a little bit. Carlos Ulberg, very athletic. Jiri trying to get his title back. But that means that Alex is more than likely going to fight John Jones at the White House, which sets up one of the biggest fights of all time. Now, Alex is not in the position to become the three-weight world champion, which obviously he wanted a year ago when this was really first talked about. But he is fighting John Jones. And everybody knows John Jones is the baddest man in the world. There doesn't need to be a belt around him. Everybody knows what the deal is. That's the biggest fight maybe that the UFC can make. I'd argue maybe Islam McGregor is probably a little bit bigger of a fight than that pay-per-view seller-wise. But, Eddie, how excited would you be if the White House main event is John Jones versus Alex Pereira? And is that what you're hearing and it's looking like?
Well, first of all, excited about the main event of the Epstein card? I don't fucking know about that, dude. I have no respect for this shit because that's what we're doing. All right,
Are you going, Eddie? You going?
Oh, absolutely, dude. I want to be on the list too. Fuck out of here. No, I'm not doing it. Shit. After all the shit I said, watch me. I get. Hey, I am.
President Eddie Law deported from White House.
Not even. Hey, they wouldn't deport me. I talk too much shit. I'll get the whole like, oh yeah, we found him in a cell. He hung himself type of shit. What the fuck? So just in case, motherfuckers, I am not. I do not want to self-harm. I'll put it that way. All right, fuckers. YouTube's stupid about words. All right. Now, that is the fight. You give me anything but that fight, I do not give a shit. This is 100% because there's no reason for Alex Pereira to vacate the belt unless he's going up, and there's no reason for him to go up unless he's fighting John fucking Jones at the White House. What will be the point? Like, gone? Do you guys want to see Gone and Pereira? No one wants to see that shit. Okay, so here's what I think is gonna happen. One or two things gonna happen to Tom Aspinall. He's gonna get stripped, or they're gonna make an interim belt. Either way, could give a fuck. But John Jones for Alex Pereira for the interim heavyweight title sounds a lot shittier than John Jones with Alex Pereira for the heavyweight title, right? So that's if I'm Dana White or Hunter Campbell, I'm like, hey Tom, how's your eyes? Oh well, mate, I'm just close to being back, mate. I'm just close. Yeah, no, you're not. Here's 500,000. Make sure that lasts another 6 months, and you're gonna vacate. I don't want to. You're gonna vacate. Here's a check.
You just give the title back to John, or
no, vacant. You can't just.
And then you make Gone fight who?
I don't give a fuck about Gone. I don't want to see Gone fight anybody.
That's who's. That's who's probably going to be in an interim title fight if you take it off of Aspinall. It's going to be Gone versus.
No. Okay, guys. Just for the millionth time, forget deserved. That shit's out the window for decades now. Okay, it's about what's going to sell at the White House. You can't have Gone in there. You strip the belt. You strip the belt. And you go John Jones, Alex Pereira for the vacant heavyweight title, and let Gone fucking fight. Who gives a fuck at that point? But I'm speaking as someone that that understands that the White House card has to be entertaining, not competitive. Entertaining. We're looking to be entertaining.
Looking back on it, Eddie, did they make the wrong decision stripping John Jones of the belt and putting Tom Aspinall versus Gane as the interim? Because look where we are now. Everybody would love John Jones to be the champion again. Did they kind of screw up with that?
No, John Jones retired, didn't he?
No, I know, but if he comes back at the White House card and you're saying to make the vacant heavyweight title, I mean, he was just a heavyweight champion. We pissed him off by taking it from him, So it's like, if we're going to give him the vacant heavyweight title, you might as well just not even take it from him to begin with.
I disagree because he was inactive. Aspinall was fighting.
Yeah.
If he wasn't going to fight Aspinall, you got to give him that title. But then now things have changed. Now Aspinall's the one that's inactive because of an injury. And if they need that fight to be a heavyweight title fight, I agree. They strip Tom with no questions asked and just make it Pereira versus Jones. I mean,
you got
like Eddie said though, it would stink if it was Pereira versus Gane because it's just not a comparable level of hype for that fight,
Not for the White House. Not for the White House,
so bad.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible if that was the main event. I don't know how you could put one guy from France and one guy from Brazil. Both of them, I mean, Gane speaks English, but Alex and you're gonna have that be the main event of the White House. Come on.
Hey, stanky ass Kid Rock's gonna be like, we're gonna make our own UFC event. We need America. Fucking dumbass.
Exactly.
Shitty little jackass. Fucking bought a whole fucking case of Bud Light to shoot it up for a fucking clip. Dickhead. I have no respect for Kid Rock. Grandpa Rock, hey, fucking senile Rock. Fuck off.
Kid Rock could probably buy PFL if he wanted to.
He had to be able to read a contract in the first place. That dipshit can't read.
All right, guys. So that's what we got for the talk with Alex Pereira and John Jones.
Don't get me started on Kid Rock. I'll give you an hour. Okay.
we think Alex Pereira is going to move up to fight John Jones at the White House card. That is going to be the main event. Who knows what they do with the heavyweight title? Tom is out with the eye injury. If they strip him and put that vacant title in the main event, it's obviously going to build the fight and make it even bigger than what it already is. And Alex, as we mentioned, would have a chance to become the first 3-division champion in UFC
That'd
history.
Be crazy.
So,
crazy that happened. Okay, real quick. We're good. On that point, if he wins, sorry, I hate to cut you off. If he wins it, is he not the GOAT, but a GOAT?
That's what I was thinking about, man. He might be the GOAT if he beats John Jones.
If he beat John Jones. Yeah,
and becomes the first 3-division champ. He might.
I don't know if I'd say he'd be the GOAT, but he's definitely top 5.
I would say at least, right?
He'd have the highest quality win of all time.
I'm with you.
He'd be the only 3-division champion in the history of the sport.
Oh yeah, no, he has an argument for GOAT status for sure, but I don't know if I'd put him in that slot just because he still doesn't have that many MMA fights. I mean, I think GSP had more title defenses than he did MMA fights. Silva had more title defenses than he had MMA fights. It's just tough, to call him the GOAT when he has such a low volume of fights, but he's easily top 5. Easily.
The quality of the fights is so high, though.
Yeah, that's
when you got Brock, Brock Lesnar doesn't have the most, and he's not a GOAT, but you know what I'm saying, a respected champion, and they're like, he doesn't have that much, but he's better than some guys we've seen hold the heavyweight title briefly. So
I'm with Pat on this one. It's a good point. Top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I think he's top 5, maybe the GOAT of all time, but we'll have to see if that fight is made. That's what we think is going to happen. Eddie, let's get a little bit of a review from you from the RFA event that you were at last week. We had Arman Sarukian get into a brawl with the take me down for $1,000 guy. What in the world happened there?
So we get in there, whatever. So at the presser, they're going back and forth. By the way, who knew Arman was fucking hilarious? That guy's funnier than shit. Okay, Arman comes in. And he's talking about, I forgot, someone asked him about Ilia Topuria. We know Ilia Topuria saying this and that about you, whatever. He goes, I don't know. I'm worrying about bodybuilder real quick. All right, I'll get back to the Topuria. And the whole place went nuts. So come fight night, we get in there, whatever. And they announce the guys, right? They're like, hey, the next fight up or next match up, whatever. And Giorgio, whatever his name is, Giorgio Puyas or something like that. Yes. Giorgio. He walks out first. Then comes Arman. They start going. The first thing Giorgio does is club his ass hard. Okay, he clubs him the first time, and there's 2 guys next to me, and I tell both of them that first club. I go, Arman's gonna get his back. They're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, that's Arman Sarukian. He gives a fuck. All right, he's got fuck you money. He's got yeah. As Arman Sarukian has fuck you money. He doesn't give a shit about this. Okay, and they're like, all right, well, whatever. Arman clubs him back. The ref warns him. Right. Then Giorgio starts trying to poke his eyes. He's doing this shit. And Arman starts getting really upset. I mean, George is trying to poke his eyes and Arman gets upset. And so they start going, and Armin's getting visibly irritated. So at this point I go, all right. I said, so Armin's up by like 4 points, something like that, which in wrestling obviously is could be a lifetime if you don't have the skill set to roll him over and grab 4 quick points or whatever. And so Giorgio saw himself losing. He starts clubbing again and going for the eyes and raking the face and grabbing his hair, and Armin's just taking it. And I told the guys, I'm like, hey, at the end of this match, the second the horn sounds, Armin's fucking him up. Like, no, he's not. No, he's not doing that. No, he's an MMA fighter. He's a professional. I'm like, no. He's a fighter. I've been talking about, dude, for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, on every time I get a chance, because people don't understand this. There's a massive difference between an athlete and a fighter, right? You can be both, but most people aren't. Most people are one or the other. Arman Tsarukyan is both an athlete and a fighter, but fighter first. So the horn sounds, and I'm like, here it comes. I literally said, here it comes. And Armin shoves him, cracks him twice, and knee up the middle. And I'm like, I fucking told you. I fucking lost my shit. I'm losing my mind in media row up top. We're way up far shit. I'm losing my shit going, I fucking told y'all. Armin was going to fuck him up. They're fighting. They're going back and forth. The Giorgio's brother and credit to his old ass dad, came in throwing hands too. All right. Giorgio's family comes in. Fucking like all of our media fucking shows up, jumps on the fucking stage. They're just brawling. I'm loving every fucking second of it because I'm an MMA guy. I don't give a shit about you get a little overall. Taste of MMA and a wrestling. I am fucking loving this shit. It was dope. By the way, the whole event was amazing. All right, massive credit to RAF, massive. All right, and Sammy and Darren, you PR dudes are fucking pros. Holy shit, you made everything so easy. Thank you. But that was a dope ass fucking match, all right? And the fight was even better. It was fucking dope. Armin went 2-0 that night. All right, I don't want to hear shit about Giorgio.
RAF is honestly, Pat, it's making a big scene, especially with the wrestling fans, but they're bringing in MMA guys to make some interesting matchups on these undercard as well. They have former MMA guys as, I believe, some of their standout wrestlers like Bryce Meredith. What do you think about them as a prospect of a promotion? Like, obviously they don't do MMA, they're doing wrestling, just that, but do you think that they'll be able to stick around and build that niche market to be able to be a company that lasts quite a while?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they work with Fox News, which is already, good aggregate to have there. And I mean, this was the best thing that could have happened for them. You know what I mean? This is the best thing that could have happened for them. This just brought so much attention onto RAF, Arman punching Giorgio in the face. And then apparently, it was announced that there was a submission grappling match between the two that they were going to do like in a week or two in Brazil. And then they said that that's not going to happen anymore. And the RAF president came out and was like, no, we want the rematch in RAF, which was crazy to me because I was like, damn, they really want Arman to come back after that. But they do. They do. This was the best thing that could have happened for them. The rematch is going to do twice as much attention, 3 times as much attention than the first one. I mean, this is going to be massive for them. I think they're only growing from here and they're only going up.
In the post-fight presser, because they don't do it like so. This one and like One Championship, all these other some of these promotions, they're not like the UFC. You guys have both been in UFC media events, and the winner comes out through the entire night is going. For this, it's the entire event, and then you go to the presser. We were supposed to get the winner of the co-main and then winner of the main. Obviously, the winner of the co-main got in some shit, so they didn't bring him back. So at the very end, it's Cejudo, it's Izzy, it's Chad, and it's Eric Bischoff. For anyone who doesn't know, Eric Bischoff is a pro wrestling guy. Okay, they're talking about this thing. Oh, we don't want not Bischoff. Bischoff, you can see it in his eyes. He's loving every fucking second of that shit. And Chad's like, well, we don't really want to talk about it. We don't have all the facts. And the dude next to me is just like, oh man, taking it seriously. I'm like, no, they love every second of that. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, because now they're on the map. Armin put them on the map with that, right? Yeah. And Cejudo's just like, yeah, I want to see the rematch, guys. Like, let's go. Like, Cejudo knows what time it is. Eric Bischoff was loving it. Izzy and Izzy had to play, because he's the honorable guy, right? He has to be himself and all that. But Chaz, the finance guy, you can see the money, the dollar signs in his eyes, dude. It was hilarious. I'm sitting there going like, and after the event, like they all kind of left, and I was talking to some of the RAF guys, and I'm like, that might have been the best thing that ever happened to RAF. And like I understand wrestling is honorable and all that and everything. I go,
Bischoff was loving that.
Bischoff loved every second of that shit, dude. He wanted to talk about it, but they didn't let him. You could tell they would tell him like, hey,
I wish they would have. They call that like heat or something in WWE, and they love that shit.
Dude, that dude. So in fact, I think Bischoff made a comment. He goes, the only problem I have with it is it went a little too long, just a little too long. But But it was just, I love the shit out of that.
Did they have security there?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
A couple guys.
Not much.
Maybe
Not enough.
Because I think Giorgio's brother was getting into it again after the brawl was over, and I saw a security guy kind of break that up.
No, so, they had to do it. You know how they have so few security guys. Izzy had to get on stage to help, and Chad had to get not about Chad, but dude, fucking Colby Covington tried to come in at the very end, try to take some credit like he did some shit. Fucking out of here, dude. Colby came in at the very end of it and just helped Giorgio go to the back. I'm like, bro, where were you? Again, but it was the overall. The event is dope. RAF has a future if they play it right and they don't get crazy. And I know they were talking about we want to do weekly events. I'm in the back of the presser going, no, don't do weekly events. Do like twice a month, and that's it. All right, do not water this shit down.
Yeah, if they could find like Friday nights to put these on before there's like week UFC cards, just like they did this week or last week, I feel like that's probably prime time slot, and it's a slot that the PFL has not taken on their part. So.
I'm not even a wrestler guy. Okay, like I joined the wrestling team in middle school and I got kicked out for fighting for punching a kid. You would think they would have loved me for that, but whatever. Like so I'm not a wrestler guy. This event, Armin aside, but just the wrestling alone, I was so into it. I didn't think I would be. I was super into it. Muggsy coming in getting his first RAF win over over Clay Guida. Thank you, Clay. I would say Chad. I said Chad Bernstein, but Clay Guida. Who, by the way, gave me an interview. Clay, you're the fucking man. But that getting a win over Clay Guida was surprising to everybody. You could tell that kid took it seriously. Poor little Everest Leidecker trained at she used to train in my gym where I train at. So I've seen her since she was a kid, and she was like little, and she was pretzeling boys and girls coming up in tournaments and shit. And now she's like winning medals and winning championships and wrestling and all that. She had a tall task in the girl she faced. That chick was nasty. So for her to lose, no reason to hang her head. Everest is going to come back and get that win back for sure one of these days. But all in all, I give it a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed the hell out of myself. I had so much fun that night.
There you go. If you guys can catch an RAF, go to it. If you're in the Midwest or the South there, they put on events quite frequently. Pat, I do kind of have just a question for you real quick. It's not on the rundown. Don't want to catch you off guard here, but I saw something with Bella Mir. Does she have some type of like debut or wrestling, like RAF event or something that she's doing coming up?
She might be. I didn't see anything like that, but she probably does have something like that. I know she was focusing on college for now before she ends up making the full-time switch to MMA. I think she's on a UFC developmental deal though, so I think they have her locked up for the foreseeable future, and she'll probably be a UFC fighter within the next 2 years, if I had to guess.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I think it was on Frank's Instagram. He posted something like a side-by-side of them doing an interview. I don't know.
Didn't she have a matchup at UFC BJJ with Jocko's daughter?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think she's had a couple UFC BJJ matchups, actually.
I know. I remember she had the one against Jocko's daughter, and I watched part of it. Like, I didn't finish watching the match. I had something to do, but I watched part of the match, and I'm like, God damn, she looks exactly like Jocko. Like, exactly like Jocko. Damn. That dude, that guy's genes are tough as shit, dude.
Yeah, she is. She's 2-0 in UFC BJJ.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, fight fans. We do have another fight that got announced briefly. We didn't mention Aaron Pico versus Patricio Pitbull. Kind of a Bellator main event they're going to have on the main card or prelims there of that. But we got to talk about Curtis Blaydes and Josh Hokett. We didn't have time to talk about it last week. We got to get into that a little bit. Josh Hokett comes over here. A win over Denzel Freeman evidently gets you a top 5 fight in today's heavyweight division. But Josh Hokett, I think he's the best prospect we have right now in the heavyweight division in terms of all-around athleticism, being able to stop fights standing and on the ground. But he's going to go in there against a guy in Curtis Blaydes, guys, who's one of the best wrestlers in this weight class for the last 10 to 15 years, right? He's able to take guys down like Overeem and elbow them to death, guys who are great strikers. And then the guys who are great grapplers, he's been able to knock out guys like Kyle Dawkins, and Jalton Almeida. He does have heavy hands as well. Pat, you've been there at Josh Hokett. I've been to 2 of his fights. I think you've been to much more than me, and you know him very well. Are you concerned a little bit about the push up against Curtis Blaydes, given that it's a way higher level of competition than what he's fought previously?
Yeah, I'm definitely worried about the rise of competition, but what worries me more is the stylistic matchup. Like you said, Blaydes is a very capable wrestler himself. We did see him, however, get out wrestled pretty bad by Jalton Almeida when they fought. So it's not like Blaydes is like the best wrestler we've seen. At heavyweight, he's great for heavyweight standards, but he has slowed down as he's gotten later in his career. And he beat Jelton Almeida in that fight, but it was with the hammer fist defending takedowns. It was not. But it was not with the wrestling. He was getting dominated with the wrestling.
No, it was with his defense. But
so if Hokitt comes out full gas pedal, full all out, I could see him causing Blades a lot of trouble, and that's what we've seen from Hokitt. We've just seen all gas, no brakes. But if he comes out like that and can't get the finish early over Blades, I could see Blades taking it to the distance and beating him just based off having better cardio, being a veteran. It's a very interesting fight. And like you said, massive step up in competition going from unranked to number 4. But that's what happens when you talk. That's all it takes in the heavyweight division. These guys haven't realized it yet, but the heavyweight division is so dead and so dry right now in the UFC that all Hokitt needs to do is stir up a little bit of controversy, and look where it's gotten him, So I know some people don't like it, but whatever he's doing, it worked. Everyone's saying he's copying Colby, he's copying Chael. Look where Colby and Chael were fighting for the title, It's worked, and it is working right now. So I'm definitely a little bit worried about the stylistic matchup, but I mean, his stock won't drop too far if he loses, because he's going from unranked guys to the number 4 heavyweight in the world. So I think he'll still keep some stock even in a loss. And I am interested to see how he deals with Blades.
Eddie, one of the reasons that the heavyweight division, is as dry as it's been is because the UFC has not acquired top talent from outside the promotion. And one of the top talents outside of the promotion just got signed to the biggest boxing fight of the year. Rico Verhoeven will take on Alexander Usyk for the WBC heavyweight title. This is a legit heavyweight title contest. Obviously, Rico Verhoeven was the Glory kickboxing champion for many years there at the heavyweight division, one of the best kickboxers in all the world. But Eddie, he's not going to be able to use his kicks. He's not going to be able to use his knees. What chance do you give him against Alexander Usyk? Do you think he'll look better than Ngannou looked against Tyson Fury and Joshua? I guess that's really the benchmark that we have to go off of for a combat sports athlete moving over into the heavyweight division. But Eddie, what do you make of this? It's at the Pyramids of Giza. Do you give him a chance at all?
A puncher's chance. At best, right? And I'm not look, boxing is such a different game. All these MMA fighters are like, oh, I got boxing, I got box. No, you can't. It's a different game, completely different game. It's not about, honestly, a lot of times in boxing, it's not about causing damage, certainly not early. It's about, peppering, pop, scoring points and all that, right? Beating up getting them tired, going to the body and everything. And then once those hands come down near the middle of the fight, maybe near the end of the fight, or if you're, the opponent's getting, looking like shit, go for the crack, right? No, Usyk should this will look fun for like 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds, and then Usyk will take over. It'll be an Usyk fight like normal. But real quick, I just want to make a point on the Hokitt thing. 100% correct there. I think it was Pat that said it. Was it Pat that you said it, the talking? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I get it. Skill set wise, Blades should win. The one thing I give Hokitt a lot of credit for, it's not my style of talk. I could give a shit about it, but I give him a ton of credit for the fact that he's doing it. When he went to that post-fight presser and had that dude talking for him while he's acting like he's having like some kind of like out-of-body experience, or having like he's like talking to demons in his head or some shit. That genius, fucking genius. You know why? Who else is in the heavyweight division? Fucking nobody. Okay, everyone. I do every fighter I interview that's outside of the UFC, and they always have the same thing to say. Oh, I want to make it to the UFC. I want to get the contender series call up, and I always tell them afterwards. I'm like, you need to let your personality go. Oh, but this is my personality. Okay, make one up. Do something. Say something. You got to let you. It isn't about Danna giving a shit about you. It's about the people that watch the sport giving a shit about you. All right. And in terms of grabbing talent from outside the UFC, I'm starting to think whoever's scouting talent for the UFC fucking sucks. All right. Come on. Can we say, I mean, how are we not saying that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you that bad at scouting talent? You can't find talent? 8 billion people on the stupid ass flying rock. You can't find talent? Yeah. Fuck out of here. All right. Get out of here with this shit. There's definitely talent out there. Go look. And then like Pat was saying with the whole, maybe she's Bella's on a developmental deal. Bring these guys on a developmental deal. Have them work with people that know how to entertain. All right. And at the very least, create some heavyweights that we give a shit about. God damn. Like,
you work with WWE.
Well said.
It can't be that hard. It's not that fucking hard. If the WWE can give you a personality, God damn it, they can give MMA fighter a personality. Yeah. Right. Now, in terms of Rico, how the hell are you giving Conor Benn, 15 million or whatever it is, and you can't get Rico?
Yeah.
What are you doing, dude? And I get it. Danna signed him. The UFC or Zuffa, whoever it is, paid him $15 million. I know Danna and everybody wants to tell you, it's not us. Turkey's paying it. No, it's not. You know how much I believe that? I believe that as much as I believe that that we're not paying for that White House card. Oh, the UFC paying $6 million. No, the fuck they're not. They're not paying a cent. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Right? Don't lie to me. All right, I'm 40 years old. I've been watching this shit ass government my entire life. Fuck out of here. But it is such a miss that we didn't get Rico. Such a miss. Such a miss. Can you imagine if Alex Pereira is in the White House main event, knocks out John Jones? Can you imagine Rico versus Alex Pereira? Fuck if Rico deserve it or not.
Who doesn't want
the main event? A kickboxing event? Dude, there would be no takedowns in that fight. Fucking none. It would be Rico versus Alex Pereira for the title would be insane. Put that in the sphere.
Yeah, it would have been great, but Pat, we've been talking about Rico since he beat Badr Hari like 5 years ago. Like, what took so long to even get to this point? I know they had Francis and they had John, and they're like, oh, we already got our stars, we don't care. But now you don't have anything, and the cupboard's empty, and you didn't go after Rico for the last 5 years. How big is this for them not doing that?
Well, I mean, like you said, why are they going after it now? What took so long? Desperation in the heavyweight division. They're desperate for heavyweight stars, as we see with Josh Hokett getting a top 5 guy in his third UFC fight. That's really what it is. They're just desperate for heavyweight talent, heavyweight stars, and a guy like Rico who already had a massive following, a massive known, it's tough to say that, that they offered him as much as they did, but it's true. They probably only offered him $100K or so for a fight. And it is crazy, but it's the right move for Rico's career, no doubt. I mean, he's probably making millions to fight Usyk, millions. And he wouldn't have made that in the UFC. That's for damn sure. So I think Rico made the right move waiting it out, but it sucks,
Yep. Definitely, I think Rico made the right move, too. It will be at least a spectacle because the fight is at the Pyramids of Giza. I will be interested to see how that venue is set up and all that as a whole. But fight fans, it's UFC 326.
Wait. Real quick. Just wait real quick. We talked about Alex Pereira vacating the title. We didn't talk about the vacant title fight. We skipped right over it.
Oh, Ulberg and Jiri Prochazka. Yeah.
Yes.
Jiri's trying to go back, get his belt back. Hasn't lost really anybody other than Alex. Knocks out Jamal Hill, knocks out Khalil Roundtree. Ulberg comes in here and flatlines Dominic Reyes, the former title challenger, sets up this massive title fight between two very dangerous athletic guys. Pat, who do you favor in this one?
This is a tough one. I mean, it feels like one of those fights where Ulberg will probably be winning most of it and then just gets knocked out because that's what Jiri does, It just feels exactly like one of those fights. Like I saw someone earlier say, Ulberg's going to win 4, 10, 8 rounds, then Jiri's going to knock out round 5, But seriously, it does feel like it's a tough matchup for Ulberg. He's never faced anyone as dangerous as Jiri. Jiri is a killer. And Ulberg I favor technically. Like I think he is the more talented fighter in a sense, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you fight a guy like Jiri. That's the last thing that matters is talent or whatever. We saw that against Khalil Roundtree. We saw it against Glover Teixeira. He's done it time and time again. I think a 5-round fight does favor Jiri just because it gives him more chances to wear Ulberg down and take him out. Ulberg, I think Ulberg's fought in a couple 5 or maybe just 1 or 2 5-round fights, but none of them have ever went 5 rounds. He's never went to the championship rounds, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with a guy like Jiri in the championship rounds, who's pretty familiar with them.
Yeah, I think so too. That fight with Reyes was scheduled for 5, but obviously, like you said, did not make it anywhere near that. But guys, we got a huge, massive pay-per-view card headlined by the BMF title fight between Max Holloway, 27-8, coming in here against former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira, 36-11, who just picked up a win over Matheus Gamrot in Brazil. Holloway is obviously one of the best fighters in the division, but he's up here at 155 pounds. These guys previously fought at 145 pounds. Charles Oliveira hurt his shoulder in that fight earlier in his career when they were both young up-and-comers. Pat, what do you think this time around? Obviously, many years since the first meeting, do you favor Max Holloway in this one, or are you going to go with the former champion at this weight class in Charles Oliveira?
No, I think I do like Holloway here. I mean, he's just looked so good since moving up to lightweight. He looks like he is one of those guys that benefited from moving up. And, it sucks because Illy is champion now, and that's the guy that beat him at 145. But I think he really probably beats almost every other guy. Maybe not Arman, but other than that, those are the only two guys I really see beating him. Obviously, Oliveira has a lot more finishing threat. He's a lot more dangerous than Holloway is in a sense, but I think Holloway is just so technical. We really don't ever see him get taken down, so I don't know if Oliveira is going to have success doing that. And I think Holloway is just so much more skilled on the feet, just technically. I really think he's going to have he honestly might have his way with Oliveira in this fight, but it is pretty crazy because this is a rematch 11 years after the first fight. How often do we see that when both guys are still at the top and still not not washed? It's pretty cool to see the fact that this fight's happening 11 years later and both guys are still great fighters.
Eddie, if I told you the winner of this fight draws into Conor McGregor when he returns, would it make you more interested in the main event?
No, I don't need Conor to be interested in the main event. I don't give a fuck about Conor. Look, can we get past the Conor thing? Are we done?
I think he fights the winner of this.
I think he's on coke still. No one gives a fuck what I think about that, right? Here's what I'm saying. All right, you're right. He could get the winner of this one, okay? But if he's saying that they're talking about this summer, unless whoever wins this fight wins it in the first round, he ain't fighting either one of these guys in the summer. They'd have to be later in the year. If
it's in July, how much would that? I mean, do you get 3-4 months off? You think they could do that?
No. Okay. First of all, let me clear that up. The winner of this fight is such a bad BMF. I hate that shit. No, I don't hate that. I like the BMF. I like it, but I hate that I almost said one of these bad motherfuckers. Either one of these guys is such a, I guess, bad motherfucker that if the winner will absolutely take that fight. No one's gonna say no to that fight. You're 100% right. People are gonna tune in because it's Conor, 100%. Right? I'm just sick of hearing about Conor, but But hey, look, fair enough, dude. I think that'd be the winner would get Conor for sure. And I know Conor wanted to fight the White House. By the way, apparently an hour and change ago, Dana White came out and said he's going to announce the entire White House card because it is done. He's going to announce it this week. All right, Dana, for the love of God, drink like 18 Red Bulls and then announce that shit, please. But fucking Christ, how are you going to be like? What's he going to do? No. All right, guys, we're going to talk about this fucking White House card. Fucking John Jones.
Are we going to get an actual promo, or is this guy just he'll on his iPhone and say, "Hey guys, John Jones and Alex Pereira"?
He'll at least be enthusiastic about this one. I hope.
I don't know, bro. I think you know what I think that one dude that was feeding him fake, like those Fugazi pills and telling him they made him feel younger and better. I think that guy fucked him up. That guy. How the hell do you trust a guy that went to prison? Fuck out of here. Anyway, but no. But bottom line though, I think in all seriousness, the winner of this gets Conor McGregor at International Fight Week would be gangbusters. That'd be a smart fucking signing or booking.
Yeah, I think so. But in terms of this matchup, guys, I got to agree with Pat here. I just don't think Charles is going to be able to get Max to the ground. Now, if Charles does land the takedown against Max Holloway, it's a red alert time because we haven't seen Max on his back. Charles has some of the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu of all time. He's a submission leader in the UFC for a reason, and he will get to Max's back and choke him out if Max gives him the advantageous positions there, especially early in the fight when they're dry. I do think, though, that Max Holloway is going to be able to stuff the takedowns and utilize his kickboxing and win this fight with volume from the outside. Charles obviously walks forward in all of his contests. I think that plays into the skill set of Max. He does his best work moving away as kind of the counter striker. So I think this is kind of like set up for Max Holloway to win this contest. Charles Oliveira is plus 275 as a betting underdog in this one, which kind of is a little bit surprising to me considering he's been at this weight class longer. What do you think about that betting line there, Pat?
It's tough because it does feel a little bit wide for sure. I mean, he is the more dangerous guy, like I said. So the more dangerous guy being such an underdog is interesting. But I also just think Max is going to beat him. So I don't hate the line. I really don't. I like Max in this fight. And I don't know if the betting line being wide is going to make me even think about a Charles bet,
Eddie, which way are you going here? I'm going decision for Max Holloway. Pat's probably going something similar. Which way are you going?
I'm going Max, but I think it's going to be a war. I don't think it's going to be anywhere. I personally don't think it's going to be as easy as anyone thinks. How much longer can Charles Oliveira go? He's been around for a very, very long. So has Max, by the way. They've both been around for a long time. Max is only 34, and he feels like he might as well be 50. But like in terms of how long we feel like he's been around. But Charles Oliveira, dude, like he's got. I don't think he thinks he's gonna make another title run. But you win the BMF belt, anything could happen. anything could happen, right? You never know when you need someone to step in, or if this fight is crazy, and Vera kind of Max Holloway, like at the end, right? Points to the ground, knocks him out, whatever. I could absolutely make a case for Oliveira to get one more shot at the title, at the belt. And frankly, you could also argue they owe him that for stripping him here in Arizona at 274 because of the scale shit, right? So, end of the day, I think it's going to be a war. Honestly, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I'm not sleeping on Charles whatsoever. And even if it hits the ground, I'm not sleeping on Max being able to defend himself and either get back to the feet or survive the round. I honestly think it's going to be a back and forth battle, but I do have Max Holloway winning by decision.
There you go, fight fans. We're going to move on to the co-main event here at middleweight. We've got two jiu-jitsu specialists, Reinier de Ridder versus Caio Borralho, 21-3 for Reinier de Ridder. Kai Borralho, 17-2. Kai Borralho coming off the loss to Nasruddin Imavov. Reinier de Ridder coming off the loss to Brendan Allen. Guys, these are two of the best at this weight class still, regardless of them coming off of losses here. And in my opinion, when you look at this stylistically, I think that both of their ground games nullify each other. It's going to be a striking contest. Who do you favor in the striking battle? In my opinion, is who's going to win this fight. I'm going to take the length of Reinier de Ridder. I like his knees up the middle. But when I'm sitting here picking the fight, there is cause for concern because Kai Borralho, in my opinion, is the better athlete. And Reinier de Ridder's chin has been tested in every single fight that he's been in so far. So I didn't like how Reinier de Ridder looked fading with his gas tank in that Brendan Allen fight. That was a fight he was set up to win. I thought that was a trap and actually picked Allen in that one. But for this, Kai Borralho, is he going to be able to utilize that same game plan, Pat, and take Reinier de Ridder to the ground just like Brendan Allen was able to do?
I don't know. This is a tough fight because, like, Borralho's really good kind of everywhere. Like, he showed off his striking a lot more recently, and he's looked good on the feet. I think he's probably a better striker than RDR. Is he a better grappler than RDR? Like, I don't know. It's tough. Like, I think he's a really good grappler. That's obviously his base. But RDR is a really sick grappler, too. This is one of those fights that I kind of have trouble reading exactly how it's going to go, especially during a 3-round fight. Like, if it was 5 rounds, I'd favor Borralho a bit more. But 3 rounds favors de Ridder a lot, in my opinion, especially the way we saw him basically die in rounds 4 and 5 against Brendan Allen, or just round 4. But either way, like, I don't know. I kind of like Borralho a bit more than I like de Ridder, just overall as a fighter. And I feel like that overall more well-rounded nature of his game is probably going to pay him well. But de Ridder's a beast in the clinch. We saw that against Robert Whittaker. It's a tough fight, but I'm going to stick with my guy, Kai Borralho here.
Which way you going, Eddie?
Caio. I think Reinier, it was nice. He came in on fire, right? Because no one really knew what to expect of him and everything. I think now that everyone knows what to expect of him, that's kind of it. I know at media day today, he said that the reason that he fought the way he fought against Brandon Allen is because his body gave up, quit on him, basically is what he said. His body quit on him, anemic, whatever the fuck. There's a bunch of shit. Everything that went wrong could have gone wrong with his body, and that's why he fought the way he did. His loss is way worse than Kyle's last loss, by a lot. Kyle stepped up on short notice, if I'm not mistaken. Brandon Allen stepped up on short notice. You know what I mean? And so, it's tough for me to pick RDR with any kind of confidence based off that last fight. How do I know your body's that's not just your body now? You never know. So, but let's say the jiu-jitsu actually cancel each other out. Kyle's got better hands. And I know de Ridder showed, by the way, de Ridder showed good striking and won. He was not a pushover whatsoever. But I still got Caio having it better. And Caio has kind of, I guess, the pressure, which isn't a total bad thing, of continuing this resurgence from fighting nerds, who they're all making a comeback now.
That is true. So you guys are going with Kai Borralho. I'm going to take Reinier de Ridder by decision in this one, but this is a really hard fight to handicap either way. I think that this is just going to be a really competitive matchup between both of these guys. So a very good co-main event, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see this one being a really close fight that's controversial split decision where one guy should have it, the other gets it, everyone's mad, everyone's arguing. But I could also, potentially see it being domination, for either of them, honestly. It's tough. It's a very tough fight to pick.
Now, guys, one of the best young fighters on the roster will be returning this week as Raul Rosas Jr. faces Rob Font. This is a fight that was scheduled originally for UFC Noche last year in San Antonio. David Martinez stepped up to face Font in that matchup, but we're finally going to see it here this weekend. Raul Rosas, in my opinion, is going to have a definite grappling advantage. Rob Font's going to have a definite striking advantage. This is the old striker versus grappler matchup here. And I got to favor youth and athleticism from Raul Rosas. I think he's younger. I think he's stronger. I think he's going to be able to drag this fight to the ground. And when he gets it there, I think he's going to be able to do good work. But Rob Font is a veteran. I kind of see Raul Rosas grinding this one out to a decision victory, but wouldn't be surprised if he choked Rob Font out in this matchup. Eddie, which way are you going?
It's so hard to say goodbye to Rob Font. It's over. Sorry, Rob. It's gone. Game is over. That's it for you, my boy. All right. Raul Rosas is going to come in, put hands on him. Rob Font's going to fight like Rob Font does. By the way, he fights the exact same way no matter who he's facing. He doesn't change a damn thing. It's almost like he doesn't game plan. Okay. If he does that shit against Raul Rosas Jr., Raul's going to stand with him for a little bit and then take him down, strangle him, game over. That's it. And Rob Font can, New England cartel, bro. Do your thing back in New England because I don't know what to tell you.
Which way are you going in this one, Pat?
It's tough because I really want to pick Font. Like, I think Raul is still so young and underdeveloped, to be quite honest with you. I really don't I don't think he's made massive strides since first coming into the UFC. I think he's just still a really good grappler, and that's really all there is to it. The problem is Rob Font can't defend a damn takedown. Like, can Rob Font defend a takedown? Please. If he defends 3 early takedowns in this fight, he's winning. He's winning, in my opinion, honestly. But in his last 5 fights, Rob Font has been taken down 22 times, and he didn't get taken out at all by David Martinez. So in the 4 fights before that, against Gene Matsumoto, Kyler Phillips, Davison Figueiredo, and Corey Sanhagen, he was taken down 22 times against those 4 guys. 3 of those guys are primarily strikers. You know, it's just one of those. And he ended up beating Kyler and Matsumoto. The Matsumoto fight was really close. I thought they could have went either way. But he ends up beating Kyler and Matsumoto, despite being taken down so much. I wouldn't be shocked if something like that happens here. It's just so tough for me to trust Rob Font at this point. Like you guys said, he's older, 38 years old. He's just never really developed his grappling, and that's all Rosas has developed at this point. Like, it's tough for me, but I think I do. I don't know. I think I do lean Raul Rosas in this fight, but with the betting line in question, I'd bet Rob Font for sure because I think the line is wide. I think Raul Rosas is like minus 250-ish around there. You know, I like Rob Font enough to maybe put that bet down because, like I said, taken down 7 times by Matsumoto and 4 times by Kyler Phillips, and he still won those decisions. You know, with his striking. If something like that happens in this fight, it would not shock me at all. But I mean, it's just so tough to pick him outright. I think I am going to lean Rosas outright, but I don't know. Don't sleep on Rob Font in this fight because I could very well see him pulling a Rob Font.
I'm not sleeping on Rob Font. I'm just starting the vigil early because it's over. It's over, baby. It is over. Fair. It's over. Sorry, Robbie. I love Rob Font. I love me some Rob Font. I really do. I enjoy watching Rob Font. That dude's a dog no matter who he's fighting. But my God, they fed you to the young lion. It is game. I'm not saying this because Rosas is Mexican at all. I'm literally like legit. If Rob Font was you give me Rob Font from 4, give me Rob from 3 years ago, and I'm picking Rob Font personally.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. He's in a different stage of his career. We're going to have to see the Gene Matsumoto fight maybe as Pat mentioned, the best gauge for what we have moving forward for this one. But, guys, we got a fight between 2 vets that is going to be all action here. These are 2 guys that move forward, 2 guys with one-punch knockout power, Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. I'm going to go with Drew Dober by knockout in this one. I think he's going to get it done here in the first round. Just overly aggressive, just great power, and he just seems to win these matchups against other vets like Bobby Green, where he's able to just outlast them and put that power on him. I'm going to go with Drew Dober in this one by knockout. Which way are you going, Eddie?
How did Drew Dober lose that one fight against Torres? Torres kind of beat him to the body, right? Am I thinking about the right fight?
Manuel Torres. Yeah.
Okay, Torres. I think Torres.
He's on a losing streak. I'm pretty sure.
Oh no, Drew won his last one. It was
did he?
Kyle Prepelec.
Oh yeah, I forgot that even happened. To be honest,
short notice, right. So you give me. I'm taking Drew Dober, dude. Like, I would love to take Michael Johnson, man, but I mean the luck's got to run out at some point. Like, I know you're 40, bro. You represent for the 40-year-olds, but goddamn, bro, how is he pulling these off right now?
Johnson's on a 4-fight win streak, isn't he?
He's doing something right now. I'm not sure. I haven't looked, but no, Drew Dober throws like baseball punches, like full out, hard as he can type of shit. And if he catches Michael Johnson, who we've seen him get chinned a couple times, yeah, he's gonna do it again. So I got Drew Dober in a brawl. I think it's gonna be a crazy fight.
Yeah, it could be potentially a fight of the night. Which way are you going in this one, Pat?
I don't know. Like, I want to pick Drew Dober. I really do. There's that meme that Drew Dober beats all the black guys,
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't want to say it.
I didn't want to say it either. I didn't want to say it either.
Honestly, might
Drew
be
Dober for obvious reasons.
As stupid as it is, it might be what sways me in this matchup because I think it is a close fight. I think it's a perfect fight for both at this point, though. To be honest, I thought that the Alex Hernandez Michael Johnson matchup didn't make sense because I thought Alex Hernandez deserved the better fight after the really strong win streak he's been on. And I mean, Michael Johnson's on a solid 3-fight win streak of his own, but I mean, these guys are both older. They're both vets of the UFC. Like, I think
both
this is just
southpaws.
a perfect, both southpaws. I think this is just a perfect fight. I like Dober's power a lot more. Obviously, Johnson has the more technical boxing, but I think Dober's power will shine here. I think he might catch Johnson at some point, maybe put him out, maybe not, but I think he'll end up getting a knockdown or something that might sway the fight kind of thing. So I think I like Drew Dober here.
There we got it, fight fans. We all think that this is going to be a highly entertaining matchup. Maybe we'll steal fight of the night on this card, but another fight that's going to be all action. Like, we might not have the biggest names on these undercard fights, but these are going to be highly entertaining contests. We're going to have two Brazilians, Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira has absolute shut your lights out power, 15-2. Gregory Rodriguez has the same thing as we saw against Jack Hermanson, but Gregory Rodriguez also has that world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt pedigree to fall back on as well in this contest. Guys, I got to go with Rodriguez. I know he got finished by Bruno Ferreira the first time around, kind of ran into a punch as he was going forward. RoboCop always is overly aggressive, always leading the dance, ran into a punch from Bruno Ferreira the first time. The rematch in here. Pat, do you think that Gregory Rodriguez uses the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu this time around? He's 6'3". There's no need, if I'm his coach, for him to even go in. The only way you can lose this fight is the way you lost it the first time, going right towards him and getting knocked out in a counter shot as you're overly aggressive. You got to think that he uses the frame and jiu-jitsu this time around, don't you?
Yeah, so a little bit of like insider info, if you want to call it that, on this fight. I interviewed Delano Taylor right after this first fight happened. He told me, if you guys remember, it was supposed to be RoboCop versus Brad Tavares, and Bruno stepped in on short notice. From what Delano told me, he said that RoboCop refused to change his style and refused to change his game plan from Tavares to Ferreira, and that is what I think personally cost him that fight. Not preparing for his opponent and sticking with the style for a guy that was a completely different fight for him. I think that really hurt him, and I think that's a big part of the reason why he just walked into Bruno's shot the first time. I think this time, this fight's been booked. He'll have the proper time to study, prepare, have a good read on Ferreira. He has multiple UFC fights at this point, and I do think RoboCop gets this one done. I could see it being on the ground, but honestly, if he just fights smarter on the feet, I could see him putting some pressure on Ferreira and maybe not knocking him out, but winning a decision. Like, I think I'm pretty confident that RoboCop gets this one back, though.
How do you see it, Eddie?
Someone's gonna knock someone's head off, I guess. I don't know. Do we not just want to see blood in this? We don't give a shit about who wins. Like, we don't care about what was a win. What's next for them? Don't give a fuck. I want this to be a nasty fight to kick off. I think it kicks off the main card, right?
It's a car crash.
I want that. I want that. Give me the two Brazilians going out to kill each other. This is for entertainment. I'm sure the winner gets something out of this, besides the check and everything. But they get some kind of bump up or something or other. But the reason you book a fight between two guys like these is because someone's gonna get their head knocked off, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. End of the day, though, I'm gonna take RoboCop. I'm gonna take RoboCop in this one.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard not to. Like Pat said, especially after what he just mentioned, talking to Delano Taylor and these guys, and him not changing his game plan. It's like, if we see the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling come around this time, I mean, that's going to completely change the fight. And Bruno's won some of these contests that people didn't think he's supposed to win because he's got this elite power. And if he can stay away from that one weapon of Bruno Ferreira, I think that it could be a successful night for Rodriguez this time around. But we'll have to see. Guys, there is a former champion on the prelims this weekend. Is Cody Garbrandt, 14-7, takes on Long Zhao, 27-10. Pat, what can you tell us about the opponent Long Zhao in this one? And Cody Garbrandt here, obviously, everybody loves him. but the end of the road might be pretty soon.
Yeah, Zhao is an interesting one. He had some really good wins on road to UFC, but they were decisions for the most part. And then he comes into the UFC. He had the loss. I'm pretty sure it was the road to UFC final against Chang Ho Lee, who's a good fighter, split decision loss. Then KOs Quang Lee, loses the decision to Su Young Yu. Long is just not a good grappler, plain and simple. He's just not a good grappler. And that probably doesn't come into play in this fight, luckily. So that'll help him out for sure. I think Garbrandt very well could catch him on the chin, but he's also never been clean knocked out since 2017, and it was at the beginning of his career. So it's tough to say here. I think Garbrandt is definitely on the later side of things. I mean, he's only 34, but he's definitely lost a step or two recently. His losses aren't too bad, and on paper, this is probably a fight he should win, but I don't know. I just Long is a tricky striker. I could see him causing Garbrandt some issues to the point where Garbrandt doesn't end up landing that big shot and ends up getting the win. But I don't know. I think I still got to pick Cody Garbrandt, just being a former champion. I mean, the level of competition these two have fought is night and day, and I think I want to still ride with Cody here, despite him not being close to what he was when he was a champion.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I'm going to ride with the former champion, Cody Garbrandt, as well. I think his job's on the line and his back's against the wall, and he's going to be a dangerous fighter this weekend because he's going to have to be. Eddie, who do you got in this one?
Long Zhao.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to have a Brandon Moreno, Kavanagh type of shit happen again. I'm serious. That's what's going to happen. Except Cody Garbrandt is way worse.
These lighter weight classes, these guys, they have trouble with the speed and athleticism.
Cody has crazy miles on his body. He's not young. Okay. He's had surgeries. He's had to pull out of fights before. He's gotten into fights bumped up, bruised, busted up, and he still, and to his credit, went and busted up and everything. Hasn't shown the greatest fight IQ since he got here. And that dumbass fucking tattoo on his eye made it even worse. So it's gonna be Kavanagh Moreno again. I think we're gonna see his Long Zhao style on him. I could be wrong. If Cody Garbrandt comes out and starts with this dude, I will be just as happy as everybody else because I do want to see Cody Garbrandt go not go out on a loss, basically. Because I think this is gonna be it for him. I don't think he fights up to this personally. He might, who knows? But I want to see him go out on a win or at least have a couple wins before he's done. But I just don't see it. I think he's getting fed to the young boy here.
We'll have to see this weekend as we move on down the card here, guys. Dante Johnson is taking on Cody Brundage, and Cody Brundage is 11-8. I love the guy. He's a good competitor. He's a good sportsman. He's a class act. But Dante Johnson is going to finish this fight, in my opinion. I don't see any way Dante Johnson doesn't finish this fight. The UFC has set this up for him to win. He's just a better athlete. I don't see any path to victory for Cody Brundage. I have no clue what the betting lines are, but I got to assume it's 6.5 to 1. 650 or something like that. Pat, anyway, Cody Brundage pulls out a win here against Dante Johnson. He's got the experience.
Tom, baby. I love Dante Johnson. He's a very godly man. He's very jacked. I mean, he is massive. I didn't even know this until this past week. He was to 260-pound heavyweight as an amateur. And then he fought on heavyweight on DWCS just because of the short notice nature. He didn't cut any weight, didn't do any of that. He was jacked at DWCS. And he went out there and put a legit heavyweight out in a minute, maybe not even. And he's a beast. I'm a big fan of Dante Johnson. I like his style. He's showed off his good grappling in his last fight. And you were right, Brett. He is a minus 670 favorite at the time of recording. So I think that's justified.
That was a good guess, Eddie. That was about as good a guess as you can get.
I mean, it's just tough to trust Brundage in any capacity at this point. Obviously, he's live to find a finish within the first maybe 2 minutes of the fight. But if anything, I think Johnson might finish him in the first 2 minutes of the fight. Yeah. He's just a tank. I really don't see Dante Johnson losing this fight. He might be on the greener side a little bit, but this isn't the guy he should be losing to. I think his last win over SD Dumas took him into deeper waters than he's been in most of his fights. And really, I think we'll see an even more improved version of Dante Johnson here, who will dispatch of Cody Brundage.
How do you see this one, Eddie?
So when he fought in DWCS and he was a heavyweight, I'm like, how's he a 5'8" heavyweight? That makes no goddamn. I made a joke on I forgot, I don't know if it was this show or on Keyboard Warriors. I was like, look, here's what I want to see Dante Johnson do. Give that man an Ozempic fucking sponsorship and just don't tell nobody. and suck him down at like 205. I didn't know he could make 185. What the fuck? That is so unfair. That is so goddamn unfair that he can make 185 after being a giant human being. The discipline this man has to make that weight is ridiculous. No, he's going to come in and run through Cody Brundage like he was supposed to. It's going to be a mauling. Poor Cody Brundage. He just ran into the wrong.
He'll fight anybody, man.
Let's also bring up the fact Brundage fought on the last pay-per-view. He fought on UFC 325. This was a short notice fight he took. This was supposed to be Dusko Todorovic. He got knocked out by a guy in Cam Rouston who, you know, is nowhere near as scary of a fighter as Dante Johnson, to say the least. So obviously different builds and everything, but I think Dante Johnson is just, you know, I think the short notice is even going to help him even more, you know?
Dude, watch it be like a slam knockout. I can see Dante just doubling his ass and just wham, just like Donkey Kong, straight up crazy.
Crazy enough, Cody Brundage is probably his biggest win of all time was a slam knockout versus Zachary Reese. But Pat, I want to get your opinion on two of the prelim fights before we sign off tonight. Luke Fernandez, 6-0, is going to be fighting Rodolfo Bellato, who me and Eddie went in on last year when he kind of had that acting job situation. And who did he fight in that?
Paul Craig.
Yeah, Paul Craig.
Paul Craig, you're right, Paul Craig. That was crazy. But he's going to be up against it this weekend. And a guy in Luke Fernandez that I've been hearing people are talking very, very highly of. Can you tell us a little bit about Luke? And obviously he's a favorite this weekend, but his skill set and stuff.
Yeah, so before DWCS and before that, Luke was the CFFC light heavyweight champion. He was an incredible amateur. He defended their Emmy belt a couple times. He was probably regarded as one of the best young in terms of fights prospects in the sport, one of the best US prospects at the heavier weight classes. And I mean, he's delivered up until this point. I mean, his only win that wasn't a finish was Christian Edwards, former Bellator vet, who he beat in a unanimous decision. He kind of just cage wrestled a lot in that fight, didn't really want to strike much, which was interesting. And then, you know, we see him on DWCS and he knocks out poor Rafael Pergantino in 15 seconds. So he obviously has shown that he has the knockout power and he has the ability, if he needs to kind of just grind you on the cage for 15 minutes and dominate you to a decision win. And I think that will be crucial in this fight because Bellato's tough. You know, Bellato's kind of like a zombie in a sense. Like he's a tough guy to knock out. He's a pretty tough guy to finish. So with that said, I do think Luke Fernandez probably does beat him in this fight. What interests me more is if we'll see him actually put Bellato's lights out or if we'll see him grind his way to a decision more with his wrestling, because I think he is just a better fighter than Bellato in general. I would say cardio is a concern for Fernandez, but we saw him go 4 rounds in that CFFC title fight. So I'm not really worried about cardio. I think he has heavier hands. I don't really see too many strengths for Bellato in this fight, but Fernandez is raw enough and young enough that maybe he could pull something off, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Fernandez also had a submission win over Phil Hawes in a grappling match. And Phil Hawes is a pretty damn good grappler himself. You know, the chin was the biggest issue for Hawes, and that wasn't even in play in a grappling match. And Luke Fernandez still took him out. So I think Fernandez has really good finishing ability, but if he needs to, he'll win a decision in this fight. I'm really just more interested to see if he can get Bellato out of there. That's really what my main takeaway from this fight will be.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he does. It'll certainly be a statement at this weight class. 205 pounds, obviously the champion moving up to heavyweight, but 205 pounds in heavyweight are just the thinnest weight classes probably in the promotion right now. So for Luke Fernandez, he comes in here, beats a guy in Rodolfo Bellato. He's going to be facing some pretty good competition moving forward as well. Fight fans, we will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. We'll bring you guys any breaking news and instant analysis that we have between now and then. Obviously, UFC 326 this weekend. Tune in for that BMF title fight between Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. See you.
Someone give Dana White some of the Vegas dust. All right, wake up when you make his announcement.
Eddie.
Huh?
Kyler's gone. You don't have a quarterback.
Malik Willis time. $35 million contract. Let's go.
No. Hey, I'll take Ty Simpson 8 times over that shit. Because of the contract, though. All right, give me Joe Flacco and give me Ty Simpson in the second round.
Joe Flacco.
I'll take anybody but that.
I'd rather take Flacco than pay Malik Willis $30+ million a year.
That right fucking there.
All right, fight fans. We'll see you next week.
Drink some Red Bull, Dana. God damn it.